Hey guys, this is Tanner Investor. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be an action-packed video. We have a lot to go through on new updates regarding ticker symbol BMNR, BitMine Emergent Technologies. We have ticker symbol SBET, which is Sharplink Gaming, the two biggest Ethereum digital asset treasury companies. And then we also have some news regarding some IPOs. So one IPO actually released yesterday. That is ticker symbol FIGR, FIGR. They are a very interesting company using blockchain technology around HELOCs for home equity loans. So pretty cool there. And then there's also ticker symbol GEMI. So it's the crypto exchange you guys have probably seen. And that is founded by the Winklevoss twins, which they are the ones, yes, famously who sued Facebook for stealing their idea, apparently. So pretty cool. Going to look more into some of these plays. But also I wanted to go over some news. And to start, I wanted to start with something pretty bullish. So we know the Trump administration, actually Donald Trump appointed Chair Paul Atkins. So the SEC Chair Paul Atkins. And this happened, I think he got appointed in April of this year. And since then, we've seen a lot of changes regarding rules, regulations, the Clarity Act. We have, obviously, the Genius Act. We have all kinds of pro-crypto movement now. And SEC Chair Paul Atkins on stage this week basically made that point crystal clear. I'm going to hop into my screen here and mute my mic while I play this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we must admit that crypto's time has come. For too long, the SEC has weaponized its investigatory subpoena and enforcement authorities to subvert the crypto industry. That approach was not only ineffective, but injurious. It drove jobs, innovation, and capital overseas. American entrepreneurs bore the brunt and have been forced to spend fortunes on building a legal defense instead of a business.
Wow, that is awesome to hear. Crypto's time has come. And he mentioned that, the fact that the previous administration for the SEC just didn't do a great job with crypto. Obviously, there are a lot of jobs, a lot of innovation, the future financial world, which we've talked about a lot on the show. I think that it is all revolving around cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So pretty exciting stuff. One thing to note too, I just wanted to briefly go over this, is that Jack Ma leaked Yunfeng Financial is going to be building a treasury, an ETH treasury. And that obviously is the first Chinese Ethereum treasury company. So Jack Ma, obviously, not obviously, but if you guys don't know, Jack Ma actually is the guy who co-founded Alibaba. He co-founded Ant Group. So very well-known guy. And the fact that he's also bullish on ETH, awesome to see. More the merrier in this realm. So let's go ahead and jump into the two digital asset treasury plays that we talk about all the time on this channel. So BitMine Emergent Technologies has had a great week. So thank you guys. I know I've been bullish. I'm officially 10% in the green on this position. This is not all of it. I have some more into another account as well. But I'm pretty excited about this because, when we were trading at 1.0 MNAV or right around there, it was like, it just felt to me like a screaming buy because of what ETH can do. It's a yield generating asset. I mean, we've talked about this over and over. But it didn't feel too expensive. I'll say that. And so we've seen now a 21% increase. Obviously, BitMine has done a few interesting things this week. In my last video, we talked about ticker symbol OCTO. And actually, I want to get into this first real quick. But you can see down here, they actually talk about it on their presser that they invested into OCTO, which OCTO, just as of yesterday, now has a new ticker symbol ORBS, which we knew was coming. So it's now ORBS, which goes hand in hand with the little thing you scan your eye. They call them orbs. So that is what that is. So I like, some people are on the fence about this. They're like, okay, so they're not just going to use the money for buying ETH. They're also going to be using the money to do other things. Well, I want to remind you guys that companies do this all the time. Like companies, I'm going to actually show you an example. Nvidia, one of everyone's favorite, my biggest holding. And I know a lot about Nvidia because I've been following it for years now. Nvidia has had their own moonshots in many ways. Companies that align and synergize directly with their business that can help grow their business and they can fund them is ultimately going to help, hopefully, earn money back to the parent company, which in this case is Nvidia. We're going to talk about some examples. So they've invested in CoreWeave, OpenAI, ARM Holdings, ticker symbol ARM, sorry, XAI, Section AI, Nebius, Applied Digital, Runway, Bright Machines, SoundHound, Serve Robotics, Cohere, Mistral, Perplexity, Moon Surgical, FIGR, Pony. Now, I want to talk about these because some of these, they don't actually have any shares today. So they might have invested at one point and sold. So some people are saying, well, you know, it's only paper gains. Yes, the price of OCTO has gone up compared to when they bought it. They bought it at like $1.45 a share. Let's actually take a look real quick at what Orbs is at now. I'll start calling it Orbs, not OCTO. But they are now at $15.88 a share. So they've effectively over 10x'd their position in this company. And of course, that's paper gains. They likely haven't sold. But, you know, like I said, Nvidia has sold some of the businesses that Nvidia had purchased, you know, put a stake into in the past. One example is SoundHound. Actually, funny enough, when they bought into SoundHound, I bought SoundHound stock. It ran up a lot. And then when they announced that they sold all their position in SoundHound, it tanked the heck out of the stock. So I actually lost some money on that play back in the past. But just throwing that out there is that, you know, Tom Lee's a smart guy. He knows that these are paper gains. So it's like, I don't know how long they'll hold this. I don't know if, just like other pipe investors, a lot of the pipe, we all know, it gets diluted. A lot of people sell. I'm curious if BitMine would maybe sell some of its position, all of it, or none of it. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that being said, I did want to go over one more thing. They now have over 2 million holdings in ETH, which is insane. So we are now at a $9.211 billion market cap when you know, or net asset value when you have your BitMine cash holdings. This says BitMine crypto. So that also includes the little bit of Bitcoin they have. They have obviously small amount of Bitcoin, a lot amount of Ethereum, and we have some cash as well, of course. But now, you know, he introduced the Moonshot investments. So let's see. Is this going to be the first? Is it going to be the last? I doubt it. I think there'll be more. I'm curious to keep watching. I think it's pretty exciting. Now, I wanted to get into one thing. The Orbs now has an official X account called Orbs Official. I am human _ Orbs. A lot of people out there, they ask me, like, how do you find out about this stuff really quickly? Guys, like, you can go to people's X's, you can follow them, and then you can actually turn notification bells on. So if there are accounts that are just like really good about getting news out quickly, you can actually have notifications on for those accounts that send push notifications right to your phone. So that was how actually I didn't get a notification for OCTO originally whenever they announced the presser at 7 a.m. I actually was on my phone, like rolling around in bed, and actually saw it at about 7:14 a.m. and got in around the $4 to $5 price target or price range before it had that massive run up. So just wanted to let you guys know because I had a lot of questions about that. Now, I wanted to get into World. Just one more thing. This was actually sent to me by someone on X named Flipper. Thank you so much, Flipper. He tagged me in this article. So this was released in April 30th of 2025. So this is the fee structure for World ID. So obviously, whenever you scan your eye into an iris scanner and you have the World app, people now there are going to be applications out there that need to verify certain details of you as a human, right? So let's an example as if like YouTube might just want to verify that you're a human. They might not need any other information. They just want to get rid of bots. They might just have a World ID and just have World ID fees. Now, there are some things in the future that might connect to your World ID account that can make the world a lot simpler and a lot faster. So one that comes to my mind, and I have no idea if this will ever happen, but imagine if your World ID not only had your passport, your driver's license, other information, but also had what if your credit information was inside there? Now, this would be locked in case someone only needed the credit information, but for things like purchasing a new vehicle, purchasing a home, you can make that process within an instance, not taking, potentially hours or days or weeks, right? So that would be kind of interesting to me. Now, one thing they mention is that these fees don't just go back to World itself to pay for the protocol. They also will get there'll also be a fee for each credential issuer will be set to retain their own credential fee, while a separate protocol fee will then flow back. So there's two type of fees. One is going to World, one is going to the credential issuer. So like, for example, if the US government potentially, I believe, will be getting paid through this World ID, because like things like your driver's ID and your passport, there should be a slight cost associated because they're the ones who issued that data. Similar to like if Experian were to partner with World and give credit data, Experian has that data, it's very valuable to them, they would have to charge for that data. So pretty interesting. Just one thing to keep in mind, these are the pricing mechanisms. So there's potentially going to be a per proof, per monthly active user, free tiers, volume discounts, discounts for specific apps, and then fees proportionate to economic value. Now, one thing they were very clear on is that none of the fees will ever go back to you or me, right? So the people that have the app on their phone and just have their human verification within reach, none of the fees are going to go back to you or me. The fees will go to the applications that are requesting the data from your proof of humanity. Okay, so that's pretty good to know. They wanted to make that clear because they don't want to make people worried about going and scanning their eyeball and they're like thinking it's going to cost money. It won't. It won't cost you any money. It won't cost me any money. Now, thank you, Flipper, for that. Again, now let's go ahead and get into Sharplink Gaming, ticker symbol SBET. So similar, we had a 14% increase this week. We actually got a little bit higher, back into the $17 range at one point. But pretty happy about that. I'm still obviously very red on this position right now, but it's okay. I really do think that over time, this company is still very undervalued at the moment. But it's good to see us have a green week and rebound. Sharplink did have a little bit of news. You know, one thing that they release every single week on Tuesday is their presser that shows the breakdown of their ETH concentration, because we know that's their metric. And so you can know that we talked about this in our last video or 2 videos ago, is that they were very clear that when the MNAV is under 1.0, they will not be pounding the ATM. The reason why is because that's absolutely dilutive to shareholders. So when that MNAV goes under 1.0, it actually is more accretive to shareholders to buy back shares. And that's exactly what they did. So you can see on this sheet here, they didn't issue much at all. They didn't get a lot of proceeds much at all. And then they mentioned that their cash on hand is approximately 71.6 million. And I want you guys to remember that number, 71.6 million, here in a second. So first, the share repurchases. We do have quite a bit of share repurchases. I actually think I have the article here. Yeah, we repurchased 939,000 shares of common stock at a 15.98 average, which I believe was right around when we were around like a 0.85 or a 0.83 MNAV. So we can see they must have done this on Monday, right around here on September 8th, and purchased it around noon. Good to see. I'm really happy about that, because now obviously they've made some gains on those shares. Actually, they bought it at a dip. That's pretty great to hear. Now, remember that number, 71.6 million. Well, one thing to note is that we just saw a Sharplink wallet transfer 379 million in stablecoins to Galaxy Digital to purchase more ETH. So this wallet, we're not 100% sure. I mean, this just doesn't really add up, because they said, you know, obviously they're not going to pound the ATM if it's under 1.0. So did they have some sort of debt issuance? Did they raise money in a different way? People aren't 100% sure, but people do say there's no way that's a Sharplink address. Some people aren't really sure what's going on. Regardless, I think next Tuesday's report and presser will be pretty interesting, because we'll get an update on this, obviously. And then one other thing I wanted to share was thanks to Max. He's great in this digital asset treasury community for ETH. He actually posted this video, which I really wanted to go over. So let's take a look at what Joseph Lubin had to say. And he kind of had a slip in a way, which I want you to see if anybody caught it.
Same thing with SBET. There will be synergies between the SBET equity / different form of equity and LINEA and MetaMask. And Declan said it, the largest ecosystem development fund in the history of our ecosystem.
So Joseph Lubin in this interview kind of had a little bit of a slip up, as you saw there. So he said there will be synergies between SBET equity and then paused in different forms of equity. So I don't know if it was a slip, but he kind of laughed it off like it might have been a little bit of a slip, but we already kind of knew something like this might be coming. Now, there's two things that I think this might be. One, convertible bonds, or two, what if this is a tokenized version of SBET through ETH, which we've all talked about how important like that could be in the future. Tokenized assets, Robinhood's talked about it. And what if Sharplink kind of said, all right, let's prove it. We can do it with our own stock. Let's just do a tokenized version of SBET. That would be pretty freaking cool. So keep that in your mind. Something I think big will be coming in that realm here in the next couple months, maybe. Who knows? So now that's about it for the Sharplink Gaming news. I want to go ahead and hop into a couple other of the IPOs that are coming out. I'm just going to go over these briefly. So IPOs have been very, very successful here in 2025, and crypto IPOs in particular, like Circle. I remember Tom Lee, he mentioned that Circle and stablecoins are like the ChatGPT moment for crypto. And so that was pretty big when he mentioned that prior to releasing his treasury. And Circle, up 336% year to date. We have Bullish up, let's see what they're doing, 49% since their IPO. Galaxy Digital is now up in the green, 25%. Man, I wish I bought Galaxy Digital. The things they're doing is so cool. I love this company. I actually want to maybe dive more into Galaxy Digital. eToro is actually down, but they're a crypto brokerage firm. Something to keep an eye on. And then now we have a couple more IPOs. We have FIGR Technology Solutions. This actually IPO'd yesterday with a lot of success. We're up over 22%. Pretty big there, going from 25 now to 30. We'll have to keep an eye on how this performs today. And then Gemini is IPOing today. So Gemini, ticker symbol GEMI, Gemini Space Station. Very interesting name. Gemini, I really actually like their credit card. I've seen a ton of advertisements for it, but it's a 4% back, I believe, on Bitcoin. So when you make purchases, you get Bitcoin right into your wallet on their brokerage firm. Thought that's pretty cool. I'm currently on the wait list for Robinhood, so I really wish I could just get the Robinhood Gold card. But I might actually be getting the Gemini card in the interim, or maybe the Coinbase One card. But I think I'd probably just get the Gemini one. But that being said, this is actually a very interesting company because the owners actually are the Winklevoss twins. So if you guys know the Winklevoss twins, actually got a lot of money from Facebook because there's actually a movie that came out about it. I haven't watched it, but about how they actually got their idea stolen from Mark Zuckerberg about Facebook back in the day. So they actually took the money from that winning a lawsuit into getting very big into crypto. And that's kind of what they've been doing since then. And they're billionaires, super rich because they're fortune in Bitcoin and now own Gemini. Now, one thing to note, guys, is I'm not very attracted to this IPO. And the reason why, if I can just find it real quick. All right, so one thing to note, and this is going to be, I'm very curious about how they IPO, just because we can see here their net revenue year over year from 2024 compared to 2023 was a pretty large increase. And their operating loss has significantly gone down. Now, over the 6 months, though, ended June 30th, their net revenues actually have gone on a steep decline. This could be just the way, obviously, cryptocurrencies are, crypto is performing over the past 6 months in comparison at the end of last year, obviously. But, that is very cyclical. Obviously, brokerages flow with the way the cryptocurrencies are performing. So they are, though, keep in mind, they are actually lower revenue out of this time, June 30th of 2025, as they were compared to the previous year. Now, the total operating loss as well, they've actually had increases in their expenses. So not only are they losing revenue, they're also gaining expenses. So I'm really not looking to buy this one at all right now, guys. Maybe wait and see what happens with this one. All right, guys. So FIGR Technology Solutions, you can see here, actually, it's now past market open. I took a little bit of a break, came back to the video, but FIGR is already up 17% today. after a successful IPO yesterday. So pretty exciting stuff here. I don't know a ton about this company. I did want to see, though, since they're using blockchain technology to basically verify and make sure that HELOCs go through the system a lot faster. They actually stated in a stat that they're reducing the average speed for a HELOC from 42 days on average down to only 10 days using their services. Thought that was really cool. And so that's the power of, what we've been talking about for a while now. Blockchain technology, I think, is going to rule the world eventually. And so FIGR is one of the first companies to actually come out and be very successful in actually creating value with blockchain technology other than just stablecoin technology. So this is really cool, guys. FIGR technology, one thing to note about them is that it is not actually built on the Ethereum network. A lot of you guys might be thinking, well, real world assets are dominated on Ethereum. That is very true. But they actually stated here in their S1 that they actually have their own blockchain called Provenance. So this is actually one of the kind of bear thesis cases around Ethereum about real world assets and stable coins, is that companies, out there have already talked about potentially making their own L1s. And so here's an example of where this company, FIGR, actually has their own blockchain, which technically isn't owned by FIGR, but they do own 20% of the utility token hash. But June, which is the wife of the CEO, and I believe she's also the co-CEO, or she's definitely involved with the company, they launched the Provenance blockchain for their specific needs. And so it's been really interesting, guys. This is not only also a HELOC play. I know they're looking to get into like a lot of other avenues. I know they've talked about on here, they have their own stable coin now. They also have a new like exchange like kind of thing that they're trying to do, I believe, where it's called the FIGR exchange. They launched it in August of 2024, where they're looking to have an exchange that supports trading of various tokens. So looks like they're looking to do a lot of different things here. But very interesting. Obviously, I need to do a lot more digging. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this company whatsoever, but I do think, a lot of IPOs in crypto right now is the time. This is why you're seeing FIGR IPO. This is why you're seeing Gemini, because they saw the success of Circle, Bullish, and all these other IPOs this year. They've been doing very well. Clearly, you can see FIGR here up 40%. This is one I wish I got into because this is really cool. Just a little late to the game. But I appreciate everybody for watching. I really do. I'm going to keep making more videos. In the comments below, if you're interested in seeing, further things. I know some people have asked me about Bullish. I actually did a whole video on Bullish and didn't upload it. I just wasn't really happy with the quality. Learned a lot, but I still need some more digging to do on that one. It's basically a crypto exchange for institutional investors. So pretty interesting there. I just need to learn more about like their take rate, because ultimately I'm assuming it's a lot lower because they're doing such more volume. So I need to dig into that a little bit more. Galaxy Digital, I think, is a very interesting company as well. But then we also have FIGR and Gemini. So some other plays. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll try to make some more content about that. But that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.